This is Euro 2024, but every country can only use players from their domestic leagues. This means that Erling Haaland is now English, Harry Kane represents Germany, and Jude Bellingham plays for Spain. Now we're going to simulate the tournament in Football Manager to find out who wins. Starting off with Group A, we have Germany, who are basically just Bayern Munich and a few others. You can also see each player's current ability out of 200, so you can assess how strong each nation is. As you can tell, Germany is way stronger than this Hungarian side, who are relying on players from Ferencváros. Scotland only has 3 players who aren't based at Celtic or Rangers. You might also notice that Hadji is at Alaves in Spain, but he's only there on loan from Rangers, so he still counts as playing for a Scottish club as Rangers own him. But I do think the Scottish side looks stronger than the Swiss side, who again have had a few players loaned out to foreign leagues, but it still counts as being a player from a Swiss club. And as you would expect, Germany dominated the group, scoring 12 goals and conceding 0 as they won all 3 of their games. Harry Kane is the tournament's early leader for the Golden Boot, as he scored 5 of Germany's goals. But it's Scotland who qualify in second place, as they beat Switzerland 2-0 and have Todd Cantwell to thank for scoring the winner in a 1-0 victory over Hungary to finish second in the group. And surprisingly to me, Hungary beat Switzerland 3-2 to collect 3 points. But it wasn't enough to be one of the 4 third best placed teams to qualify for the knockout stages, as they have a -4 goal difference. We start off Group B with Albania, who I think are going to be lucky to get anything out of the group of death against Spain, Italy and Croatia, who actually have a pretty decent squad and would stand a chance of qualifying if it wasn't for being up against 2 of the best countries, or I guess leagues, in the world. Italy have a frightening attack force with the likes of Lautaro Martinez, Victor Osimhen and Rafael Leao. There isn't really much for weakness in this side, and I suspect they will top the group ahead of Spain. But of course, Spain are blessed with pretty much the entire Real Madrid side, with a few Barcelona players thrown in for good measure. Having just won the Champions League, maybe the Euros is next for Spain. However, Italy do top the group thanks to a 1-0 win over Spain as Nico Barella scores. They went on to top the group, winning all of their games very comfortably, although they didn't score as many as I thought they would. Spain, on the other hand, almost had a disaster. Whilst Antoine Griezmann scored a hat-trick in a 3-0 win over Croatia, Rudiger scored a spectacular own goal 23 minutes into their game against Albania. Albania then had a man sent off for a second yellow card 62 minutes into the game, and only then could Spain equalise through Rudiger to only just draw the match. And Croatia also qualified as one of the best third place teams, despite having a -3 goal difference following their 2-0 win over Albania. We start with Denmark in Group C, who have a solid but not spectacular group of players. And they have to get past some tricky opposition, such as England, who are made up of the Premier League All-Stars and surely have to be the favourites for the tournament based on how good each individual player is. But if they can't play well as a team, they might struggle. Serbia, on the other hand, is almost exclusively made up of Red Star Belgrade and Partizan Belgrade players. So despite the bitter rivalry, they should all be comfortable playing with each other. But I don't really have much hope for Slovenia, who will need some sort of miracle from above to stand any chance of qualifying. As expected, England absolutely battered the others as they scored 15 goals without conceding. Erling Haaland scored 4 of England's 15 to just sit behind Germany's Harry Kane in the Golden Boot race. Despite losing 7-0 to England, Serbia do win the other 2 games over Denmark and Slovenia to eventually qualify in second place with 6 points. And Denmark do end up beating Slovenia 1-0, but their 3-point and -4 goal difference isn't enough to qualify as one of the best third place teams. Group D starts with Austria, who I think could be dark horses this tournament because of how strong the RB Salzburg and Sturm Graz sides are. But they'll have to get past PSG, France, who still just have Kylian Mbappe, as he was still a PSG player when I recorded this. But we all know PSG bottle European competitions, so perhaps the same will happen here for France. They could well be beaten out by the Dutch, who have the experience of Jordan Henderson sitting in the midfield to guide the young squad through the tournament. So I do feel sorry for Poland, who I don't think stand much of a chance of picking up a single point from this group. But it turned out to be perhaps the most interesting group of the video, as France suffer a 2-0 defeat to the Netherlands, which should have paved the way for the Dutch to win the group. But the Netherlands could only draw 1-1 with Austria after going behind in the game, whilst Poland pulled off a shock 2-0 victory to ruin the Dutch's chances. This meant that France claimed the top spot with 3-0 wins over both Poland and Austria, and the Dutch have to settle for second place. But Austria's 1-0 win over Poland gave them 4 points, which was enough to qualify in third place. It really felt like no one wanted to win that group. In Group E, Belgium don't have that strong of a squad heading into the tournament, which really did surprise me given how much talent comes out of the Belgian Pro League. But I think they're lucky that they're up against Romania, who don't have the best domestic league in Europe, and I think are going to end up struggling. And I also don't think Slovakia will do that well either, which means I think Belgium have been very lucky being put in this group, but they won't win it. Because I reckon Ukraine will top the group given the amount of Brazilian players who play their football in the country. Although a lot of them are currently back on loan in Brazil, but they're still owned by Ukrainian clubs, so they are eligible. However, Belgium and Ukraine played out a boring 0-0 draw, and they both went on to win their other 2 games. Both sides ended up with +3 goal difference, but Ukraine scored 4 goals as they won 2-1 and 2-0, compared to Belgium's 3 goals scored as they won 2-0 and 1-0. Which means Ukraine finished higher in the group than Belgium based on goals scored. Romania beat Slovakia 1-0, which means they also qualify as one of the best third place sides in the tournament. And finally in Group F, Czechia have some solid players in their side and could do well, but they are in a very tough group. Not because of Georgia though. They should pick up a win against the weakest domestic league in the tournament. But they should be worried about Portugal, who actually have some really good players in their top teams, and I think Portugal could go on a very deep run in this tournament. But so could Turkey, as last summer their clubs went on a spending spree and signed a lot of really good players. I don't think they'll beat Portugal, but they should do well. But for all of their attacking talent, Turkey had to rely on Davinson Sanchez, who rescued a draw against Portugal as he scored from a corner, and he also got them a draw against Czechia, as Turkey just couldn't break them down to score a winner. As a result, they finished second in the group, as their attackers were finally able to score some goals against Georgia in a 4-1 win. But Portugal picked up 6 further points as they were able to beat both Georgia and Czechia incredibly convincingly to become the tournament's 3rd highest goal scorers in the group stage. Czechia also beat Georgia, which means that their 4 points also sees them through to the knockout stages in 3rd place. So here is a quick reminder of how the groups finished, and for me, England are the clear favourites due to the strength of that league ahead of Germany and Italy. Spain should be able to recover in the knockout stages after a poor group stage, but I reckon Portugal will be the dark horses and France are going to crash and burn. Particularly because France have to play Turkey, which I think will be a really tough matchup for them, because I don't think Ligue 1 is actually that good. And if you agree with me, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you don't agree with me, please also still subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 200,000 subscribers now, we'd love to get there during the European Championships. There were no surprises as Germany beat Serbia 3-0 in the first game though. Kane's penalty, followed by a header from Kim Min-jae and a lovely volley from Kimmich, sees the Germans into the quarterfinals. Spain were also able to flex their muscles against Scotland, who fought hard but weren't able to stop the La Liga All-Stars from putting 3 goals past their keeper. Italy continued to look like one of the favourites for the tournament as they ripped apart Romania 5-0. Although given the gulf in quality between the players, I was surprised the Italians didn't score more goals. But they only had 13 shots in the entire match. England almost made a meal of things against Czechia. They raced into an early 2-goal lead with Salah and Rice scoring, but the Czechs scored one not long afterwards. Luckily they did defend well and England just about avoid slipping up in the second round. The Dutch had to rely on Josip Zatalo's 89th minute goal to just beat the Belgians 1-0. But Croatia pull off the shock of the round, as they beat the Liga Portugal All-Stars 2-1 after scoring 2 early goals and then held on for the rest of the match to win. And there was also a shock for me as Austria battered Ukraine 3-0 to comfortably progress to the quarter-finals. I did think this game was going to be close, but it was incredibly one-sided. And finally, France didn't slip up against Turkey. The mostly PSG-based side looks comfortable in their 3-0 victory over what I felt was a very strong Turkish side. So the only major shock for me here is Portugal getting knocked out of the tournament. But it does mean that both Croatia and Austria are in the quarterfinals and could pull off an upset. And Croatia might do, as they've been drawn against the Netherlands. If Austria are going to do it, France is their best bet in my opinion, but we are going to lose 2 giants, as only 2 teams can progress from Italy v Germany and England v Spain. The Netherlands versus Croatia was a very tight looking game as both sides scored early in the first half. The game was really balanced until an 8-minute period in the second half, where the Netherlands decided that enough was enough and they scored 3 goals without reply to win the game 4-1. And the same thing happened in Italy versus Germany. Kimmich scored first, before Martinez equalised 6 minutes later. Then not much happened until the 83rd minute, when the Serie A players decided to score 3 goals without reply to thrash the Germans on the scoreline. We had a real thriller in England versus Spain though, and the La Liga players raced into a 2-0 lead. Kevin De Bruyne was then able to get a goal back for England, but Vinny Jr. made it 3-1 at half-time as Spain looked to be cruising through to the semi-finals. But in the second half, Mohamed Salah scored his 6th and 7th goal of the tournament to take the lead of the Golden Boot race and level the scores up. Erling Haaland then gave England a 4-3 lead, but Spain quickly managed to get back on level terms. But Bukayo Saka was the difference maker, as his 81st minute goal won the game 5-4 for England. France versus Austria was a lot more comprehensive though, as the French side got themselves into a 3-0 lead before the referee halted the game for half-time. A late comeback looked like it could be on, but any Austrian hopes were then destroyed as France scored twice more to win 5-1. So the only shocks here was the sheer amount of goals scored. 25 goals in just 4 games. Personally, I think we're shaping up for a repeat of the 2021 final, as I can't see Italy or England losing. However, the Netherlands took the lead against Italy moments before the half-time break. But 74 minutes in, Bremer appeared to be pushed over by one of the Dutch players, and the referee awarded a penalty. Up stepped Lautaro Martinez, who scored the goal to make it 1-1. But just as we thought the game was headed to extra time, Pulisic's 93rd minute shot took a huge deflection, sending the keeper the wrong way, and Italy just win at the last second. In the England v France game though, there was a shock. Randal Kolo Muani scored a header in the 27th minute, and then less than 60 seconds later he scored a tap-in to give the French a 2-0 lead at half-time. 10 minutes into the second half and Kevin De Bruyne was judged to have fouled Danilo in the penalty area, which allowed Kolo Muani to score his hat-trick and become the leader in the Golden Boot race. And to add insult to injury, Danilo then scored a 4th goal for France to comprehensively batter England. This is all because I said I didn't think Ligue 1 was that good earlier on in the video. So heading into the final, I still think Italy have enough to beat France, but I did think that about England, and look what happened there. Plus, France's Randal Kolo Muani is the tournament's top scorer. But a hat-trick from Martinez could change all of that. And he also has the chance to become the top assister as well, surely meaning he has to go down as the player of the tournament. So as the players warm up for the game, only one nation can win. And 5 minutes in, France have a dangerous looking free kick, but Xavi Simons puts it just over the crossbar. And then nothing happened until the 46th minute, when an Italian corner found the head of Bastoni, who beat Donnarumma in the French goal to give Italy the all-important lead at the break in what had been a very drab match. And the second half was going in a similar direction, as there were no more shots until the 60th minute, when Italy were advancing forwards down the far side of the pitch. Di Lorenzo found Chiesa, but Donnarumma made an important save to deny Italy a second goal. And he also made a big save from the resulting corner to deny Italy once again. But the clock was ticking down and the Italians looked like they were heading to a 1-0 victory. So France were pushing bodies forward to try and score an equaliser, but they got caught out, which allowed Italy to get forward on the counter-attack, putting through Pulisic, who made it 2-0. However, the VAR got involved and disallowed the goal. Pulisic had made his run too early, so France still have a chance. But as the clock ticked down, they just couldn't make the breakthrough. So Italy end up winning a second European Championships in a row as the squad made up from Serie A players defeats the rest of Europe. I also reckon that Italy are going to do very well this summer in real life. In fact, I've been scientific about this because I simulated the European Championships 100 times in Football Manager to find out comprehensively who would win. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and then go and watch this video over here where there are some shocks to find out who's going to win the Euros this summer scientifically.